everyone, this is Raylene with HOA Fight Club. I want to talk about your association, especially your condo associations. So we all pay our assessments, and I know in Washington State that the board has to keep up with the proper maintenance in restoring and repairing. So my question is, if the board is doing their job, how are there damages in associations? If the board is making sure that they're following the reserve studies and the reserve studies are being honest, then no condo association in Washington State should be in disrepair because they should be obligated to repair all damages. So when you see a condo association with over $6 million worth of wind-driven rain damage, there's an issue there. There's a building issue. There's a permit issue. There's other issues there. And that association should be held responsible for the damages it's causing the homeowners that live there. The board is responsible for maintaining and keeping up the property. If they are not spending the money appropriately, they are in violation of the CC&Rs because they're hurting the association and they're hurting your property value. So you want to make sure that if you see damages in your association, that you alert the board. That if you feel like there's a permit or a violation of the city codes, you should go to the city and you should ask. I know when I had the damages in my home, I actually went to the city. I talked to the mayor, told her what was going on, and then I talked to the city officials that were doing, that were responsible for permits in the city. So I went to the permitting office. Well, what we found was so many things that had been violated, not getting the permits for the re-roofs and all of that kind of stuff causes damage to the association. And any board that allows that doesn't apply for permits, because it's pretty easy, if you're going to deal with plumbing or electrical or roofing or outer, things that like the vinyl siding, all of that has to be permitted with the city. So if your board has allowed for a property to go in disrepair, then there's a problem with the board, and you need to make sure that you report that and don't buy into those associations. I see so much. I see the resale cert for my old place, for my condo, for that association. They disclose in the resale cert that there is so much water intrusion damage, and they also show that they have $1.7 million in the savings account. But what they don't disclose, is that they're going to have $6 million worth of damages to fix. So who has to pay for that balance of those damages? Well, that would be the homeowners. That would be a special assessment, because the association is obligated to restore, not repair, but restore. So if your association has that obligation to restore and they're allowing water intrusion damage and wind-driven rain and anything else, then they are in violation. If they let the gutters fail, they're in violation of the CC&Rs, and they should be reported and they should be forced to step down. So if our government officials want to hold homeowners responsible for our homes, which in a condo, you really don't own anything. The only thing you own is your interior, which is nothing. You own your furniture. You own your refrigerator. Well, no, you don't. You don't even own the refrigerator. That all goes to the association. So be very careful of what you're buying into. Be very careful of what you're living in, because if there's damages and that board is ignoring those damages, that board should be forced to step down, and the neighbors should be up in arms. But what happens is those boards scare those neighbors from coming out of their homes, and they make sure that if they do come out of their homes and start to rebel against the board, that they fine them appropriately, which is just another way to say that if you don't pay whatever we tell you to pay, we're going to fine you and foreclose, which I call extortion and racketeering. But that's my opinion. So make sure that your association is keeping up with the property, and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And if you go to buy a property in a condo association and it has any disrepair, you should run for the hills. And I'm telling you what, the reserve studies that they're doing, they're not always honest. So you want to compare not just the recent reserve study, you want to compare the reserve study for the last 10 years, because what I found was the reserve study seemed to change to benefit the association. Our gutters were failing. They had zero life left. And all of a sudden, the next year when the reserve study came out, it said we had 11 years left on our gutters. Where did those 11 years come from? It's just amazing to me that people are that naive, because nobody reads it. the board was told in the reserve study that they had to get permits to do the roofing. Did they do that? No. Did they follow the reserve study? No, which is a huge violation of the CC&Rs. So don't get caught in that. Don't let the board ruin your property value. We have to stand up for our property values, all of us. So if we all say no more, guess what? The government will make sure that we're protected. But when we fight one person at a time, it's not fair. So you have to get together with your neighbors. You have to meet them. You have to show them why it's important for the board to keep up with the property and make sure that everything's maintained and restored. All right, I'll see you in the next one.